still with the fallout from the controversial fight yesterday. Man, Chavez is a hype job. You guys can't tell me no different. He's a hype job.
Beats.
Yo.
I never once said that Chavez was a world-class welterweight. I just said that he was a better welterweight than Brandon Rios, and he was actually a welterweight. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I said. But people were like, oh, he ain't fighting nobody. I was just saying he could beat Brandon Rios. That's what I said.
Beat Brandon Rios. He fought more welterweights than Brandon Rios. Because Brandon Rios is yet to fight a real welterweight. Who? Manny Pacquiao?
Yeah, but you could argue Chavez hasn't beaten a real welterweight, has he? In the top 20 or 30. Who's he really beat?
I mean, at least the people who've been fighting are actual welterweights. If they're bums or not is a whole other argument.
Well, I could counter that and say, wouldn't it be harder to beat world-class lightweights than mediocre welterweights? Maybe, but it's not even about the dishing out of the punishment. It's the punishment that you're gonna take. You know what I'm saying? In return, at that higher weight class, you're used to taking punches from people at lighter weights. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Well, but I would argue.
Based on the technique that Rios fights in, he's about taking punishment. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He doesn't have the ability to adjust like how Manny Pacquiao fought Rios. He didn't fight him all balls to the wall like he would normally fight. I know a lot of people didn't notice that, but Manny Pacquiao was showing a lot of movement and holding, and you know what I'm saying? He wasn't trying to go toe to toe with Brandon Rios at all.
Because that was a smart fight to fight. Fighting Brandon Rios toe to toe is silly.
Rios don't have that kind of adjustment skills. He fights one way and that's it.
Yeah, but we know what he's going to bring to the table, and Chavez knew that. So he had Manny's blueprint. He knew that Rios was limited defensively, and he still was struggling to get past him, and he didn't get past him in the end. And he resorted to a lot of stupid tactics.
But Brandon Rios was dirty as well.
You know, dirty. Yeah, my man done a DDT, bro.
Trying to headbutt him.
DDT.
As a matter of fact, everybody remembers the suplex, right?
Yeah.
Everybody remembers the suplex, but nobody remembers the Brandon Rios tossing the dude into the corner almost outside of the ring.
He didn't actually throw him. Look again. He didn't actually throw him.
So Brandon Rios is initiating the dirtiness. You know what I'm saying?
If you watch that throw, he didn't actually. My man fell to the canvas and tried to get Brandon deducted points. He didn't actually throw him.
Well, I mean, I saw the fight one time. It looked like he threw him to me.
Even what's his name? Larry Merchant said, no, it's not a throw. He didn't throw him. And that was with the hindsight of a replay.
I don't listen to no damn Larry Merchant.
I hear that. But look.
But Beats also, he ain't all that, but if he would have went to the scorecards, Brandon Rios would have lost the fight.
Lost the fight, and somebody would be singing God Save the Queen round this month.
Well, that is disputable, yeah, because some of the rounds Brandon won were 10-8 because my man lost the point and Brandon won some of them rounds.
They showed the scorecards after he got disqualified.
And
only two.
The point is, this is why I said he's an 8-round fighter. You guys can say that, right? If the fight is scheduled for 12 rounds, you have to be a 12-round fighter. Not no 8-round. You don't get nothing for 10.
The fight was scheduled for 10 rounds.
All right.
No, it was 10.
Was it 10? Okay.
Yeah, it was 10.
Okay, well, my theory still stands. He's an 8-round fighter. Your theory...
But he was winning the later rounds, though, B.
No, but if you're fighting a 10-rounder, you have to stay disciplined and complete the 10, and he couldn't do it. He adjusted.
He adjusted. He started boxing on the outside, and he couldn't get to him no more. That's how he came. That's how he got ahead in the scorecard.
How many times did the referee reprimand him?
Beast, I've seen way dirtier fights than this that did not end up in disqualification on anybody's part, man.
Yeah, that is a valid point. That's a valid point. But the fact is,
the first point deduction was taken because he clinched. That was no excessive holding. It was in the third round, and he clinched.
No,
and he was takes the point.
He was clinching his elbow and tucking his fist into his elbow. He was trying to injure the arm. Done it a few times. And look, No two referees are the same. No, right? So
no, they are not. But Jesus, man, come on.
Look, he gotta be consistent. If he was that good, he wouldn't have to do that much fouling to beat Brandon Rios. And if he was that good, he shouldn't be struggling to beat Brandon Rios at welterweight either. Just about beating him and then not getting there. And then he didn't get there.
I think he was winning the rounds. It was just an ugly fight because Brandon Rios was making it ugly.
No, Chavez was making it ugly, man. He did the clinching. Chavez made it ugly.
Nah, you watch the fight. He was Chavez was trying to hold his head away from getting headbutted.
No, he was just raising his head. He was raising his head. Nah,
that dude was headbutting.
He wasn't headbutting him. No, he was exaggerating. He was exaggerating that. He was trying to make Brandon look dirty. He exaggerated a lot of stuff he did. But
Rios was initiated.
Yeah, it was both of them, man.
He was overextending his head to make it look like Brandon was trying to butt him. Even when Brandon's head wasn't near him, he was doing it. That's what he was doing, man. Brandon wasn't going in with his head like that.
I didn't see that. Brandon was using his head all night long.
Nah.
And he clinched at certain points in the fight. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
look,
it was
the bottom line is, if he was that much in charge of the fight, he wouldn't have needed to foul so much to beat Rios. If he was so in charge and if he was as good as everyone is saying.
No, that's the thing. I didn't see a lot of fouling. I'd seen a lot of ugly fighting, you know what I'm saying? But not a lot of fouling. There was fouling in the fight.
Look, but here's the thing, though, right? Here's the thing. If you're a boxer,
fouling every rip.
If you're a boxer, yeah, no two referees are the same. Like I'm saying, if you see the referee is fussy about infringements, you have to adjust your style. That's what you have to do. Andrew Gallotta, he flaked out, in my opinion. He capitulated in there.
Dude, Brandon Rios is fighting head first. He's barreling in on you. I mean, what the hell?
He wasn't barreling. He was punching, man. He didn't. Brandon always fights a rough fight. Nah, man. Chavez threw a lot of fouls. He over-exaggerated with the alleged headbutts that Rios was doing.
So you actually believe that Draculich was well within his right to take all of those points, even from Rios? I don't think he should have took the point from Rios either. Well, you know what I'm saying? That's my point right there.
Well, all right, look.
You in the fight.
Fair enough. If the referee was excessive, he was excessive. But the fact that Chavez didn't adjust and say, well, okay, this referee's saying don't do this, don't do that, he still kept doing the same thing. I think it's unfair to say the referee lost him the fight. He threw the fight away. It was in the balance.
But I hear you though, Beats. But he was winning the fight when they disqualified him. They showed the judges' scorecards.
I'm not sure if he was winning the fight. The judges'
scorecards had him winning the later rounds.
Well, see, the thing is, you guys can't use the judges' scorecards to back up your argument. You can't do that.
No, my scorecard had him winning by 3 points.
Well, that's fair enough. But don't use the judges' scorecards because every week we watch boxing, we cuss judges. So we can't use them to back up our argument. I had to win the
fight, though, actually, Beats. I had him winning by 1 point at the time of the stoppage. I had Chavez winning by 1 point.
The only reason why we bringing up the judges' scorecards in this particular instance is because he was winning the fight officially as well as on our scorecard. You know what I'm saying?
So what are we saying? This guy is a welterweight contender then?
No, I didn't say he could beat Brandon Rios. I ain't say he was a contender. Brandon Rios can't fight either.
Rios deserved the victory.
One-dimensional, no head movement ass Brandon Rios we're talking about.
Rios deserved the victory, man. He deserved
nobody
the victory.
Else.
When Rios went to that body,
he
didn't want to know no more.
You know what? A lot of people are talking about Brandon Rios' body attack. Brandon Rios did have a decent body attack, but it wasn't that much more better than Chavez's.
He threw way more punches.
No, you watched the punch stat, he ain't threw that much more punches.
He did throw more.
The punches landed to the body was almost equal. Brandon was just edging him by maybe 10 punches or so. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Well, he did edge him then. He did edge him.
Beast ain't give nobody no credit.
Yeah, he edged him.
No, the punches to the head were overwhelmingly for Chavez.
Yeah.
Brandon wanted to fight more than Chavez. He wanted it more.
So the body attack was almost equal.
He punked out.
Attack was almost equal, but the head attack was was way in favor of Chavez.
If what you guys are saying is so correct and he was so in charge of the fight, wouldn't you just make sure that you fight a clean fight and then you get the victory then? If he wasn't under pressure, why was he resorting to them tactics? If he was under no pressure.
They both was doing it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Forget Rios. We're talking about Chavez. If he was so in charge of the fight and he was winning and he was outboxing Rios, as you say, why would he resort to that? Why didn't he just box out?
Because Rios is roughing him up, man. That's how Rios fights. You know what I'm saying? That's how Rios fights. What are you supposed to do?
Look, man. Look.
Fight, dance around. I mean, that's not the dude's style. He has a little boxing in his game. You know what I'm saying? As you can see, because when he fought from the outside, he was definitely in control. I think he did. What I will say, he did fight Rios' fight for too long.
He wasn't fight. Look, Rios fought the difference is Rios fought a rough fight. Chavez fought a dirty fight.
I'll beg to differ, but
man, he was rubbing the inside of his gloves in my man's face. What kind of rubbish is that?
I'll do worse than that if he come in with his head. I'll do more than what he did.
Yeah, and you get disqualified, and then you have to complain. Then you
gotta let him.
What are you? What? I mean, it's a fight though. You can't. The referee is playing too much a part of the fight.
I've got no sympathy with him.
Huh?
I've got no sympathy with Chavez at all. None. I don't.
I would fight to play out, man. I don't like fights ending like that.
Yeah, and if he was going to disqualify, he should have did it earlier, not with one more round to go.
Well, how could he do it earlier? He let so much infringements go, and then
he disqualified him in the 9th round. I mean, you only have one round to go.
Culminated in so many infringements, and he had to get him out. Maybe he shouldn't have thrown him out, but not all referees are the same. What I'm saying is he didn't adjust to the pattern of the bout or the referee, and you have to do that. If the referee's saying you're fouling too much, then you're going to have to take that into consideration if you want a W. And he didn't do that. He wasn't disciplined enough. He wasn't disciplined enough. He paid in the end.
But you say Chavez is terrible. That means Brandon Rios is terrible also, though.
I didn't say Rios was a top welterweight contender. I think you give Thurman a good fight, though. In my opinion.
Brandon Rios was losing to a terrible-ass fighter.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Thurman, personally.
I bet you Brandon would.
Why? Why?
Brandon don't want to fight no Thurman.
Well, Chavez didn't hurt Brandon. Chavez hurt Thurman.
Well, you can say that about Chavez, but Brandon did knock Chavez out. Thurman knocked him out.
Yeah, fair enough, because he's probably a harder puncher. But who's Thurman for? Who's put him under pressure? Who? Any kind of pressure. Took all his shots and walked for him. Who?
I would like to see Brandon no defense ass fight Keith Thurman.
I would love to see it. I'd love to see it. And I'll tell you what, I might favor Thurman, but I will put it in the prediction that we can't sleep on Rios.
Like, Brandon Rios gets hit too much to be in there with hard punches like that. I don't care what Thurman hasn't done at this point as far as that goes.
But the thing is,
hit too much.
Yeah, fair enough, but that's a tangible. We know he gets hit a lot, yeah? And we've seen him withstand that and at least go the distance and outgut a lot of fighters. So that's tangible. We know what he can do.
Thurman, Soto Carras is a tough guy like Brandon Rios. He's big. He's bigger than Brandon Rios. He's a tough guy. Thurman knocked him out. I see that fight going the same way.
He's got knocked out. He's got knocked out a few times. He's not as tough as Rios. No, the point I was making, though.
Not a pressure fighter like that, though.
The point I was making, though, that's a tangible. We know he takes shots. We know what he can do. We don't know what Thurman is like under pressure. We don't know. With someone who takes his shots. Then what?
You think Rios gonna put Thurman under pressure?
Yes, I do. Yes. And Thurman should be able to cope with it, but what I believe shouldn't cancel out what has to be proven by practical, not theory.
And you know I ain't no Thurminator. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying.
You know what I see?
That kid can punch for real.
You know what I see, Natty?
Huh?
You know what I see? Throw in the towel or the leg.
I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't know.
I haven't seen Thurman. About a 5th round knockout. knockout.
I haven't seen Thurman fight somebody like Rios.
We will see, because he's gonna be landing clean and often, because Brandon Rios will not move his head for nothing. No matter what you say to him, he's just gonna do the same shit.
Not only that, Chavez couldn't fight on the inside. Thurman could fight on the inside.
I'm not saying he's gonna win. I'm saying there's still intangibles about Keith Thurman fighting somebody who can take a punch and come back. He's never done it. He's never been in that kind of fight. And don't tell me about Chavez. Chavez, I mean, is an 8-round fighter. I'm gonna stick by that.
Besides Chavez, what power puncher has Brandon Rios been in the ring with?
Manny Pacquiao.
Somebody with scary power.
But how do we know Thurman's power is scary?
Just the way these people are going down, man. Soto Karass is somebody with a hard chin. He's not the pressure fighter that Rios is, so I'm not even going to say that.
Yeah, but before yesterday's fight, everyone was saying Diego Chavez was a power puncher. In the end, he was running away from Rios.
I don't know if he was running away.
he didn't want to get. Rios was telling him, "Come and stand there. You were standing there before. How could you not standing in there no more?"
Because he was landing shots at it from a distance. That's not the fight he needs to fight with Brandon Rios. At least not for sustained periods of time. That's a dumb fight. That's what I was saying earlier. He stood in the pocket too long. He should have stood in the pocket, yes, because he was winning a lot of those exchanges in the pocket.
No,
but he stood in there too long.
He's used to bullying people.
Well, Manny Pacquiao did the same thing. I mean, he didn't stand in there with Brandon Rios neither.
Yeah, of course, because Pacquiao's got legs. Why wouldn't he use his legs? Right?
Well, why couldn't Chavez use his legs?
Because that's not what he intended to do. He intended to ban him out of there.
That was not even the game plan. He went in the ring and changed up the game plan.
No, it was involuntarily.
When he was talking to his legs. When he was talking to them people before the fight started, that was his intent. That was the game plan. To use his legs to box. You know what I'm saying? And he got in the ring and switched it that quick.
Look, when Brandon went to his stomach, he started moving a whole lot more. That's what I'm going to say. That's what I saw. He started moving a whole lot more.
And what's wrong with that?
Yeah, because he couldn't take the heat.
I don't get it.
I don't know why he's supposed to stand there in the pocket.
Me neither.
Yeah, but he wasn't scoring no more. He was so out of range. He stopped scoring. In the mid rounds. He was scoring clean headshots. That stopped.
This is the only way this guy can win the fight, and you're gonna stand there.
It wasn't win. That's survival now. That was just survival now. Before he was boxing and training and mixing it up. He had a game plan. He came off his game plan in them later rounds, and he started resorting to them tactics.
Durant, when Chavez was switching directions on him, jabbing him from the outside in mid rounds, he couldn't land no punches. Rios was like, that's coming forward. He couldn't deal with the foot movement, just like Pacquiao showed him.
8-round fighter. Rios is not top drawer world class at welter, and he could barely. He wasn't even in front, in my opinion. He wasn't even. So what I say stands. 8-round fighter. That's what.
But he was winning. The 8-round fighter was winning on the everybody card.
He didn't make the distance because he was undisciplined.
The referee stopped the fight. He ain't stopped the fight
because he kept
exactly
because he kept incurring the referee's wrath with so much infringements, and he got thrown out, and he didn't have the sense to switch up his tactics. It's a 10-round fight.
That referee wanted to end that fight.
No.
Yeah. The same thing. They both got their whole card was horrible. You got two top-ranked fighters that got fucked up. Got one fucked up score with Vargas, and then the Rios shit. That looked crazy last night.
That looked out of control.
No. You see, you contradicted yourself.
Vargas lost that fight.
Yeah, you contradicted yourself.
Then you disqualified a dude that was losing. Was winning the fight.
But you just contradicted yourself. You just contradicted yourself. You said the Vargas fight was a robbery on the scorecards, but at the same token, Chavez was up on the judges' scorecards.
That's not a contradiction.
He was winning. So right. If he was winning and he didn't foul, he would have won the fight, then, isn't it?
Hold on, Beats. We made it a point to say that our scorecards had Chavez winning as well.
No, but Chris was implying that Top Rank was giving their fighters, Jesse Vargas and Rios, some home cooking. That's what Chris was implying.
To do a robbery, you know what I'm saying? You could pay the judges or you could pay the referee.
So why would they have him up on the scorecards if they were going to rob him?
I mean, maybe
my scorecard was he lost, and a lot of other people's scorecards he lost on the fight.
And it was 2 out of the 3 judges. To be honest with you, it was 2 out of the 3 judges that had him up. One of them had Brandon Rios up.
Yeah, so if he was up and about to win the fight, if he didn't foul, he would have won the fight. He got thrown out because of another infringement. He couldn't stop. He couldn't stop putting his glove into Rios' face. Nearly every round, he made an infringement. Nearly every round.
Not every round. Brandon Rios was doing some shit, too.
Nearly every round.
You're turning a blind eye to what Brandon Rios was doing. He was running in there with his head.
And this overzealous ass referee. I mean, they have to take some responsibility for what happened in that fight. This referee was on it from the very get-go. That first point deduction was suspect. I didn't know where that shit came from.
Because he kept
even Andre Ward.
Elbows.
I'm not talking about Lampley here. I'm talking about Andre Ward. Even Andre Ward was like, that was a regular clinch. You know what I'm saying? That was a regular clinch. This is a man that gets in the ring. I'm not talking about Larry Merchant, Letterman, or Max Kellerman. This is Ward. You know what I'm saying?
Just clinching. He was trying to wrench my man's hand in and jerk his arm.
During the first point deduction, I didn't see that. It looked like a regular clinch to me.
I don't know. I saw one of them clinches where he got my man's elbow.
In the third round? Nah.
He done that clinch more than once or twice. On one of them, he looked like he was trying to actually injure my man's arm.
And it came out of nowhere. And I'm talking about when he first took the point. I believe this was the 3rd round. And the round he was winning, by the way. That's why that round got 9-9 on my card.
I don't have much sympathy for him, man. I don't have much sympathy. Yeah. He was undisciplined. You know, he was undisciplined. And in the end, you know, boxing ain't about failing. You need a 10-round campaign. And you have to adjust to the pattern of the bout, and the referee is integral in setting that pattern of the bout. And if you're not gonna cater your style to the referee's wants, then he deserved what he got. And I'm not saying the referee. You could argue that the referee's too fussy. I'm not even gonna say any different. But he just wouldn't adjust his tactics.
I'm saying. I mean, I know all referees are not the same, but man, Carlos Molina does Greco-Roman wrestling clinches for 12 rounds at a time, and he doesn't get 1 point deducted.
Yeah, but the thing is, like I said, all referees are different. So
I made the disclaimer. I understand that, but come on, man. Boxing is boxing, right? Boxing is boxing. There has to be some uniform standard on which we call
all referees think the same.
If I'm being allowed to clinch in one fight, why can't I clinch in the other fight?
Because you have a different referee.
Right? We're not fighting in another sport.
No, because you have a different referee. That's why you have a different referee. You might go to a different country where they might let his style of fighting get a little more leeway. He didn't adapt his boxing, right? So if Carlos Molina went in with that referee and he says, "Yo, you're holding too much," then he'd have to adjust his step or get thrown out.
I'm going to have to see if Vic Draculich ever officiated a Carlos Molina fight. And I'm going to see how many points he deducted from Carlos Molina. Because Carlos Molina always fights like that.
See, but what you're saying with Carlos Molina doesn't hold up. And here's why it don't hold up. He's lost decisions that it looked like he won because of his excessive holding.
Yes. But at the same time, he was winning that Kirkland fight, even though he was excessive holding, and the ref never warned him for the holding once. If he's lost fights, then so be it, right? But I'm talking about points being taken away, you being warned excessively over and over and over again. And I think he deserved the warning more than anybody. Him and John Rios, Ruiz. At least give him some warnings. I saw that whole Kirkland fight, he didn't get one warning for that holding. And I understand it's a different referee, but they should be standards. I mean, the rules of boxing are the rules of boxing, right? The rules of boxing should be the rules of boxing no matter what ring you in, man.
Well, okay. If you get 5 referees, right, officiating that bout yesterday, you wouldn't get one flow or fight. You'd get 5 different flows. Because some referees would let go some of the stuff, and others would be more lenient, and others would be more stricter. The bottom line is you have to adapt and give and take a little, surely.
I don't think Eddie Cotton, who's the dude that was officiating? Tony Weeks,
Smoger.
Well, Smoger. What's the other black dude?
Don't even talk about Steve Smoger. How he officiated in the Bernard Hopkins what was it, Morat fight? Don't talk about Steve Smoger.
Okay, Smoger's getting a little old, but so is Draculich.
Dracula's been around a long time.
Yeah, but
it's been around a long time. That's why I said in my video he need to take a vacation because he's tripping.
Well, man, they could have a rematch. They can have if everyone thinks that my man is so good, they can have a rematch and let's see if he can do a cleaner job.
See, I don't know. Nobody thinks he's so good, Beats. Let's clear that up. I don't want that out there like
you getting it confused. I said he could beat Brandon Rios.
But he didn't beat Brandon. Brandon won the fight.
The referee won the fight.
Well, you go check Bucks.
He gave the fight to Brandon Rios.
Go check Bucks. Brandon won the fight, man.
Man,
to me,
he ain't singing the falsetto and shit.
I don't know, bro. I didn't have to see it, man. So we had to see that shit in the end, man. You know,
he was singing the falsetto, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, man, the fight. Look. I'm humble enough. I will retract what I said. I said Rios was way ahead in my post-fight. Fair enough. He wasn't way ahead. The fight was in the balance, right? And if the fight is in the balance, why are you committing fouls? And there's a little time to... It's like Andrew Golota when he was fighting Bo, and he had the fight won. And he still kept going down to the body. He deserved what happened to him, man.
That's different because he was beating Riddick Bowe from pillar to post. Riddick Bowe wasn't even in those fights, man. So that was some psychological shit on Andrew Golota's part. I could understand if Riddick Bowe was doing something to deter Andrew Golota. Andrew Golota was owning Riddick Bowe in those fights.
And then he capitulated. See, that's the thing. I'm not going to give him any credit for the good work he did because he capitulated and wasted it. And that's what my guy did. Chavez did that. He wouldn't cater his style to the referee. He said, no, forget what you say. I'm just going to do what I do.
Because it seemed like the referee wasn't really calling shit that Brandon Rios did. It seemed like referee was only focused on him, and he had to do what he had to do to defend himself, man.
Nah.
In a tough, rough and rumble fight. Nah. That's what it was. Brandon Rios is a tough guy. Why he complaining so much?
Yeah, Chavez wasn't complaining.
You know what I'm saying? Chavez wasn't like, oh, ref, look. He was just fighting his fight.
Illegal tactics. The DDT or the suplex or whatever he's doing. What was that? What was that?
That was for the throwdown.
Yeah, that was revenge,
he could have got thrown out right there. And to be honest, if Rios wanted to be really bad, he could have just stopped fighting and said my neck was hurting. No one would have said anything. It was stupid tactics. Look, man.
I don't see why they disqualified him because Madonna and Robert Garcia and them, Madonna was doing worse than that shit. Against Floyd. He kind of hip.
But everyone bigged up Madonna for that. Everyone was bigging Madonna up. Well, yeah, look what he's doing to Floyd. They was actually scoring that as legal points he was scoring. The low punches and the knees. They were saying, yeah, you're giving it to Floyd. So, you know.
Draculich was doing that shit in the first Floyd fight too. Floyd with Castillo.
What, the ref?
Yep. I think Draculich was the ref in that fight.
Man, that's just how it goes. It's luck of the draw when you draw a referee. If the referee tells you, even if he's being biased, if you want to win the fight, you've got to start adjusting your tactics a little. That's part of boxing. And he didn't do it. How come this cornerman didn't say, yo, look, all you got, look, the referee's pulling you up, just box out as best you can without fouling. And he couldn't do it. So, you know, I'm sorry, man. I haven't got my sympathy. I've never rated the guy. He's never beaten the top 20 welterweight, and I'm sick of his name coming up. Yeah, Chavez, man, good fight. He's good. He's world class. No. I'm not saying you guys are saying that, but I'm sick of that. So in a way, I was glad that he got thrown out. To be honest with you, I was glad. You know, if he had won legitimately, I would have gave him his props. But this dude, no one can name one fighter he's beaten. Why is there so much hype on this dude? It's the craziest thing.
But I mean, because he looked good against a top prospect at the time.
Yeah, but didn't that just expose the prospect then? You could make the argument.
Yep, you can definitely make that argument. You could definitely make that argument. But I've always said that Keith Thurman gets hit on that chin too much. Like, as far as he likes to leave his left hand low, and he gets hit on the shit. He gets dinged, and then that's when he adjusts. He doesn't adjust before he gets hurt. And that's the problem.
Keith one-time Thurman. I like seeing him fight Rios. To me, if he becomes the first man to knock out Rios, I would give that a good win. A really significant win in his career. I'd give him the props for that, man.
Really?
Yeah, why not?
I wouldn't give him those props for that. You know what I mean?
No one's even knocked down Rios. No one's ever knocked him down, bro.
Yeah, you're right.
I believe he knocked down before, early in his career.
I haven't seen him being knocked down.
I've never seen him knocked
down. But I
think he's been knocked down early in his career in early fights.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, before he became like a top guy, he was knocked down in lightweight before.
Yeah, regardless of that, his reputation is one of someone who could take a shot. He's probably got the best chin in boxing.
Yeah.
He probably has. I'm not saying he's the best fighter. He's probably got the best chin. You know?
I can't think of nobody at the moment with a better chin.
It's hard to think anyone who could take a shot like that. But then again, look how he proves it. He proves it by not having a good defense. So It's not exactly an award of honor. You know?
Exactly. That's how he proves it, because he doesn't move his head. He just like, I like to eat shots so I can land mine. You know what I'm saying? I don't really respect fight game like that, man.